Hey now, this is an impromptu breaking news live feed. So let's go ahead and do what I love to do the most on this podcast, and that's let's hit the button.
Breaking news.
Yes, sir. We got some breaking news for everybody. AJ Styles has been announced by TNA Wrestling and then further expanded upon by head of talent relations Tommy Dreamer on one of the Busted Open shows. I can't remember which show. It was with the whatever the stupid ass show that Jonathan Coachman has. That one, um, that one in Thunder Rosa. Tommy Dreamer broke in on that one and announced that, in fact, AJ Styles will be returning to TNA Wrestling, and he will be there for the debut episode of TNA Impact on our Thursday Night Impact on AMC at 9 p.m. Eastern. The legendary AJ Styles, he will be in the house. He didn't really, Jonathan Coachman did a good job of asking whether or not AJ would be wrestling on the show, and he said he didn't want to give anything away. But Tommy also hinted that more could be coming with AJ because this is his retirement tour, and he said that he would like to see AJ do some stuff with TNA, do some stuff with New Japan, then of course go out while being in WWE. So there you go. That is the big news. There had been some folks that were worried about the ticket sales for TNA on AMC. Now they're actually doing pretty good. Like they were a little bit shy of 2,000, which is obvious, which is, really good for an episode of Impact. Like if you just compare it to other episodes of Impact, that would be one of the bigger ones, like 2,000. That's pretty good for them. But they set the show up for 3,000 there in the Curtis Culwell Center. They were already over 2,000 for Genesis. I was like, they're going to announce something, or they're going to just hit the market hard, and they'll give out some discount tickets, give out some comps. They'll get 3,000 people in there for Impact. I get the feeling now they're going to get closer to 4 with this announcement. And then if other people decide that, or if they're able to get dates on anybody else from main roster WWE, if they announce any big new signings, if any big new free agents, which there are not that many out there, but if they can do something to get people hooked and get people excited, I think that they could get like over 5,000 or over 4,000 in that venue. And some would even say that maybe you can get to 5. It really depends on who they're able to get, but I think 4 is like a pretty good goal. And a 4 is a reasonable goal. Now let's go back to my my Twitter feed here because I do have the latest ticket sale information from WrestleTix. This came out about 4 hours ago. I will go ahead and bring that up onto the screen. Let's see, share screen. So Thursday Night Impact on AMC. This is as of 4 hours ago from, of course, WrestleTix. Said that they set it up for 3,070, and tickets distributed are 1,765. I think they're going to blow past this current setup. I think they're going to expand it up to 4, much like they did for Genesis last year. And we're going to be looking at them getting in and around 4,000. And then if they could get something even bigger than an AJ Styles, which I don't know what that would be, or if they just somehow get lightning in a bottle, they could start pushing towards 5. But I think 4,000 for an episode of Impact is like insane for, especially considering where this company was at, not that long ago, begging, to sell 500 tickets at some point, giving away tickets, and actually paying people to show up to their shows. I think this is like huge and insane and just, awesome. And I know invariably people are going to just give all of the credit to TNA, and that makes sense, right? All right, they're going to give all the credit to the WWE. WWE deserves a lot of credit for this, for sure. TNA also deserves credit because they're the ones that were able to leverage their partnership with WWE to be able to sell the tickets. That's how partnerships works. That's how businesses work. Tanahashi's final match would not have been as big had AEW not lent them Okada. That was a very big deal for New Japan, but it's New Japan's house. Like they get credit for that. This is TNA's house, and for TNA's level, this is going to be an insane house. And I'm curious as to what the ratings will be for the show. I had earmarked it in around 200,000. I thought would be good. Some people are saying that 300,000 would be a reasonable goal for them. Does AJ Styles being on the show and potentially becoming a part of the show in a greater capacity? We don't know yet. We're still waiting to find out all the details. Does that excite people enough to add TNA to their Thursday night watching, right? Because you got every single night but Sunday, you have primetime wrestling on cable and television and streaming, right? Every single night except for Sunday. And then if you add like LFG and all the horse shit that they do on A&E, like then you got like 7 days a week. And if you're watching wrestling 7 days a week, God help you. There's other things to do in life. There's other shows to watch. There's other things you can go do. You can go on vacation. You can go outside. Like there's a lot more important things for pro wrestling. Starcade 90 says it's obvious that WWE have committed to, he misspells committed, but committed to buy TNA. No, they're not buying TNA. I don't see that happening. Okay. Let's see. Any other rumors for Thursday? No, but I think you're going to get a slow trickle out. Of rumors and, of people being there, and some will come out, some will come to fruition, others won't. Of course, there is the big, a lot of people are talking and speculating and rumoring that Chris Jericho will be there, but there has been no reporting on that. I did talk about it, Andrew, by Dala's report. I talked about that last night. He's not reporting that Jericho is even being in discussions for TNA on AMC. He's just saying that he heard that there's smoke to the fire that at some point Jericho would do appearances for TNA, maybe as a part of the WWE partnership, should he sign. And he does believe, it's his opinion that he's signed already, right? And we have not seen anything like that play out. So we'll take a wait and see. But there are people out there that are starting to beat the drum that they think that, Chris Jericho could be on this show. And I'm not one of them. I am betting against that. That's one of those things where I'm betting against it, keeping my expectations low. Because you guys know I have a motto when it comes to TNA and their big shows and their surprises. And it's a very important life lesson for all you guys, especially even you guys that are probably AEW fans in my chat right now trying to troll me. I'm untrollable. I'm unflappable. I'm one of the coolest motherfuckers on the goddamn planet. You cannot get to me. So chat away. But what I always tell people when it comes to TNA big shows and their surprises is to lower your expectations. Anytime you place expectations on other people, other entities, corporations, especially when you don't have any control over the outcome, you're just setting yourself up for resentments, right? Especially like other people, like people in your life. If you give them expectations and you don't really have power over the outcome, or you don't have any authority over the outcome, you're fucking losing, right? You're not going to win that. So don't. So Bobby Axelrod asking me a question, brother. I should ask you this question. Do you think that AJ Styles will wrestle for TNA? I think he does. That was my bold prediction for 2026. So last year I made a bold prediction that him or one of the legends would make an appearance, right? And we got that. We got that at Slammiversary. He came out and he did the Christian Cage thing from Slammiversary, a decade or so ago. It might have been 15 years ago. I can't remember, but it was a long time ago. We got that, and he just kind of came out and put TNA over and on the mic, and then that was it. That's essentially what AJ did, but he came over and put over TNA, and he put over Leon Slater just on the mic. Well, this is his retirement tour, and he has a lot of respect in the WWE. I think WWE would be okay if AJ went to TNA and did a match. And I know that AJ would love it. They just got to make the deal. AJ has wrestled in other companies before. He wrestled in Noah last year on their New Year's show and against Marufuji. I think Noah paid for that, right? But I think TNA and WWE could probably get a deal done for AJ. AJ is one of the tag team champions. He's one of the all-time greats in WWE history, but he is not a major factor on their business. He's a well-known star. He's one of the great wrestlers, but he's not a major factor in the business. I don't think they wouldn't let Cody do it, if that makes sense. They're not going to let Roman Reigns do it, but I think they would let AJ for sure, especially because they got the history. there, and they would want to help out their partner. Yeah, for sure. I do. I think it's going to happen this year. I could be wrong, but I think it's going to happen. Goablai says AJ Styles and EC3 is interesting because they were both huge TNA guys, but never there at the same time, I think. No, I think EC3 came in after the AJ Styles era was over. EC3 got over, and I think in like 2015, Destination America timeframe, and AJ Styles was already in New Japan by that point. But they were both in WWE at the same time. But EC3 went through the NXT system. He got called up to the main roster. Vince just didn't see it in him. And next thing you know, he's gone. And I don't know that we ever got an AJ Styles and EC3 match. Let's see. AJ will be turning up to invite Leon Slater to a match in WWE. Yeah, I think. Yeah, he actually might show up and do the whole dramatic, give the guy a contract. Here's your WWE contract. Drop the belt like Obafemi did, and just come work for us now, buddy. I think that can happen. Bobby says, I honestly think it comes down to whether or not, or whether WWE can coax a fee out of TNA for AJ Styles to wrestle. Yeah, so that's what I was trying to like get at with the Noah thing. I think Noah likely paid for AJ Styles to be on their show against Marufuji, and I think they paid for Nakamura to show up. So maybe they would. And I think if they want TNA to pay for it, for him to do a pay-per-view match, I think TNA should pay for it. I think that would be big. You can get two big matches out of AJ that would do big business. His first match back in TNA in over a decade, and his final ever TNA match. That's 2 matches. And I think that whatever asking price they're asking for, I think it would be worth it, because not only could you sell the tickets, you could sell the pay-per-views, you could sell the merch, and then you get to repurpose that content forever, right? Like you can, you have, the streaming, the reruns, you got your fast networks, and of course you got all the social sites, so you got YouTube. You can monetize that, maybe like 1 million times over, however you do it. And then like you can, when it gets stale on YouTube and it's like buried into the feed, you can like, pop it back up there again, right? And then re-air it for sure. And then like when you're watching TNA on TNA Plus during commercial breaks, they just show old matches, right? And a lot of them are AJ Styles matches. So like you could do that again. Like last night, they just showed a series of Tanahashi matches during the commercial breaks. Okay. Theoretically, given there's a WWE TNA partnership, Rooted and Abyss can make a guest appearance. Yeah, like, and those guys are just agents. I don't think WWE would care one bit if those guys went over there and made appearance. And you can just call me Ewan. Oh, Ewan. Why do you got so many gimmick names, brother? Why do you got so many gimmick names? Come on now. They should announce that AJ is going to the Hall of Fame this year. I agree. AJ said that he's not going to the Hall of Fame until he's retiring, and looks like he's retiring. So the perfect world, what Mike would do, right, would be to do a retirement tour for AJ in TNA that culminates in Bound for Glory, where he goes into the Hall of Fame, and then you have his final match at Bound for Glory, right? So you do the first match. So here's what Mike would do. Like, just fantasy booking. This is not a rumored thing. This is just me talking out my ass. So just bear with me. And as you guys can see, I am working remotely. My wife is not here. She's took my daughter to the park, and I got my son asleep. So if this boy wakes up, I got to run. So just so we're clear. But I got done with the meeting, and then the news broke. I was like, oh, you know what? It's end of the day on Friday. Like, no one's going to be calling any meetings right now. I'm essentially home alone, except for my son's asleep. But here's how I would book his return. Now, keep in mind, when I say this stuff, it just never happens. So just bear with me. He shows up in the main event. You could even do like special referee AJ Styles. I think that would pop a rating for them, by the way. So you get the main event of TNA on AMC, special referee AJ Styles. In the main event, Frankie versus Santana for the World Championship. Okay. Conflict between Frankie and AJ. AJ hits the guy. And then next thing you know, Mike Santana wins the World Heavyweight Championship with a little bit of help, babyface style, like not where it's like cheating, but babyface level, like it's okay. Mike Santana gets the world title back, and then Nick Nemeth comes in to cash in his deal, and instead of cashing in, right, he cashes it in, but the match doesn't get going because AJ and Santana don't let it happen. So now in the main event of Genesis, you got Mike Santana versus Nick Nemeth. And then all of a sudden, Frankie attacks AJ, and then he starts beating the living shit out of him. Nemeth attacks Mike Santana. You get this big wild brawl, and then as the show goes off the air, they announce that AJ Styles and Frankie Kazarian will be wrestling his first match back. It'll be 2 days later, right? So you're like, Mike, why would you put a big match like that on 2 days' notice? I think it would still do well, even if with a 2-day notice. I think like that shock. I think that would do well. Right. And then you get to Frankie versus AJ Styles at Genesis. Frankie and AJ, they're like best friends. AJ was one of the best men at his wedding. Right. It was in the wedding party. And they want to wrestle each other. AJ just did like tributes to Frankie Kazarian in his match against John Cena. I think that would do very well. Okay. Nora says he loves a Mad TV clip. Hey, look, keep that clip in mind anytime you're thinking about, I should keep that clip in mind when I'm fantasy booking what I would do with AJ, because everything I just said is not happening because I have lowered expectations. I'm just saying if I had the purse strings and I had the power and the authority, like that's what I would do. And then Bobby says, having AJ Styles referee a Leon Slater match to cost him in TNA so they can run it back in WWE. That's the idea. Yeah, you could do that if you plan on turning AJ heel, but AJ is going to be a babyface. He's even going to be doing a match with Gunther here pretty soon. And Leon Slater, I think when they do bring him over to WWE, he is going to go to NXT. So I would like to see Leon and AJ wrestle at some point. I think we might get the match, but it's probably going to happen in WWE if we do get that, right? Because I think I don't know when AJ's final match is going to be. He might do a John Cena thing where it's like in December, but like at some point during the year, Leon's going to NXT. He's going to be property of WWE, and they'll want to get to that match because it just makes sense to get to that match. But all right, guys, unless you guys got any more comments or questions, I just want to get on here and capitalize on the breaking news that AJ Styles is returning to TNA, and it might be for more than what he just did at Slammiversary. It looks like he might be coming back more often. Will he be wrestling? My prediction is yes. I think he'll have like maybe 1 or 2 matches. Would I be willing to spend money on that? Like gamble that? Probably not, because I just don't trust WWE. But I think it could happen for sure. All right, guys, that is going to do it for me this time on this breaking news audio. And until next time, mahalo.